Hello. Before I start, I want to be really clear about something. This video is about education, not telling anyone to break the law, hurt anyone, or put themselves in danger. I'm sharing information and context, not instructions. Everyone's situation is different, so please take care of yourself, follow local laws, and do what feels safe and right for you. I'm making this because a lot of us are scared, frustrated, and honestly exhausted. And I keep hearing the same questions over and over. Why isn't anything working? Why doesn't protesting change things? Why can't other countries step in? What else can we do? So let's slow this down and talk human to human about how the system actually works, what does and doesn't create change, and how we protect ourselves, each other along the way. How the system really works. Most of us grew up believing that if enough people are angry enough, loud enough, or visible enough, the system will respond. But modern power doesn't work that way, especially in a country like the United States. This system is designed to absorb outrage. It can tolerate protest. It can tolerate anger. It can even tolerate being unpopular. What it can't tolerate is risk, legal risk, financial risk, or a loss of legitimacy among people who hold real leverage. One of my questions I was searching for is why outside countries can't fix this financially. A lot of people ask, why can't other countries step in and hit us financially? What about those debts, loans, or bonds? Here's the honest answer. The US borrows money in its own currency, the dollar. That means it can't be pressured the way smaller countries can. Most US debt is actually held by us Americans. Pensions, retirement accounts, banks. So if foreign countries tried to punish the US financially, the people who would feel it first are everyday Americans. That's not a moral opinion, it's how the system is built. About shared economic pain and why it doesn't work the way we hope. Some people believe real change won't happen until everyone feels it. That's how I felt. I feel like MAGA needs to feel pain. They need to feel the higher costs, the shrinking pensions, the financial stress across all walks of life. That instinct makes sense. History does show that system changed when consequences become real. But here's the part we don't like to talk about. Widespread economic pressure doesn't usually create accountability. It usually creates fear. And fear makes people cling tighter to stronger leaders like asshole Trump and not question them. That's where we are at today. When people are struggling, they don't automatically unite, they divide. And that division is easily exploited. Why protest alone hasn't worked and why it still matters. This doesn't mean protest is useless. Protest creates record, it creates visibility, it creates history, it creates the facts when we need it, the proof when we need it. But protest without additional pressure becomes something the system learns to live with. If protest alone were enough, we wouldn't still be here. So, what can people do right now? This is the part that matters most. Real change usually doesn't come from one big dramatic moment. It comes from sustained, quieter pressure over time. That looks like supporting independent journalism, backing legal accountability efforts, protecting voting access, funding watchdog groups, documenting abusive responsibly. That's That's a key one. And strengthening local institutions that still have independence. None of that feels flashy, maybe boring to you, but it's where systems start to crack. A different approach, not louder, but we need to be smarter. We also need to recognize something different. The environment has changed. What once felt like safe civic participation now carries real risk. That doesn't mean stop caring. It means being intentional. Not every action has to be public. Not every form of resistance has to be physical. Visibility should be a choice, not a reflex. So let's talk about safety, honestly. I need to say this clearly. Caring about people does not mean risking your life. There was a time when stepping in to help someone felt instinctive and it felt safe and it felt like it's the right thing to do. And most of us would do that. Well, maybe not the MAGAs because they have no friggin' heart. But, anyways, getting off script, today that same instinct can put you in serious danger. And we've been seeing that. Being careful is not making you a coward or not making you be like you have less empathy or that you care less. If you choose to show up in the public, safety starts with awareness, knowing your limits, avoiding escalation, paying attention to your surroundings, and leaving when things change. Helping someone doesn't always mean physical intervention. It's the first thing most of us want to do. Sometimes it means staying calm, calling for help, creating distance, being a witness, and supporting them afterwards. No movement is helped by people being injured, but in today's world, you being killed. Mental and emotional safety matters too. Watching Facebook, and it's getting really depressing, and I get sad about it, is watching people's mental health over time decline. Watching people who I followed that put out funny videos and were happy, and you see them now just sad, and it's very depressing. So we need to take care of ourselves. This constant fear, stress, and crisis takes a toll, and it takes it quietly. I feel it myself over change. I'm not the person I was, and I know you're going through that. So protecting your mental health is not disengagement. It's how you stay capable of caring long term. Because unfortunately, this could be long term, and we've got to stay strong and smarter. So being smarter is why education is one of the safest and strongest tools we have. Authoritarian system depends on confusion, exhaustion, and panic, and that's where we're at. And it makes, try not to cuss, it makes Trump happy. We are feeding into this. We are making it worse. Education disrupts that. When people understand how power actually works, what's a myth, what's real, and what narratives are being used against them, they stop feeding the system unintentionally. Education slows fear down, and fear is what makes people easy to control. This is what I want to say in my closing. This isn't about panic. It's about clarity. Change doesn't come from martyrdom. It comes from people who stay alive, informed, connected, and persistent. That's the key, persistent. If the goal is a future worth living in, then protecting each other includes protecting ourselves. This video isn't telling you what to do. It's inviting you to think carefully, calmly, and humanely. Stay informed, stay connected, and don't let fear make decisions for you. Now, people are going to say, this is not the Cami I know. So let me add this. Disown, disconnect to those people that are not like-minded, even if it's a family member, your best friend who is still supporting Trump, supports ICE. Be done with them. And I would like to say the real word, but fudge you. Donald Trump, and go to hell, you dog shooting bitch. I will leave it at that. Yes, the angry me is still there, but we need to approach this, and we need to educate ourselves. We need to become more powerful, not more angry. Truth, facts, education is important. Take care.